Hi everyone, welcome to today's tutorial video where I'll be showing you how I was able to come up with this particular design and how you can recreate as well. So I think I have to give a breakdown into what is currently going on here. So this is Figma, but this is me incorporating 3D into Figma as well. If you've been around for quite some time, if you see my other videos, you will notice that I have this thing for always using 3D in some of my work, incorporating 3D into some of my Figma designs and trying to make it work in tandem with my design prototypes. So I'm going to show how I was able to achieve this. So this book here is a 3D asset I made and animated in Spline. When I say made, okay, I didn't make it myself from scratch. I actually found it on the Spline community. And to be honest, this project was not one I had even envisioned would be a full website like this. In my head, I had only wanted to see if I could find a book. I didn't even know what I wanted. I just wanted to just find a book, a 3D model of a book, and see how it looked. And I think I was just trying to see how it looked. And then I was like, oh, what if I actually brought this into Figma? What if I built a UI around this? So this is how my typical projects really start. Some of my projects start. I have just one simple idea. Maybe I want to just make a button, a simple button. It could just be just a simple button here. And then I make the button and I'm like, oh, I feel like this button feels incomplete without having some text beside it. And then I'm like, oh, if I have already added this text, why don't I even go ahead to add a header, or what's it called, text even, or add an image, or add this. So I just keep adding things. I just keep having that urge to add more and more things to make it feel like a complete design. At the end of the day, the project ends up into becoming something bigger than I had even planned or than I had even intended at the beginning. It's always great to see how all these projects play out. So this is how this one played out. I wanted to make a book, just a simple book here, not make per se. I think I want to make. I don't really know if I want to make or I just want to just animate really, or I'm playing around with Spline again. Then I did that, and then I was like, oh, I should build some UI around it, and that's how this project came to be. Even the butterfly was even after I had finished, I was like, oh, it feels the screen feels kind of boring. Nothing is going on. And then I had all these flowers. I'm like, oh, what would pair nicely with it? And then I was like, oh, butterfly would work nice. So I went ahead to find the butterfly model. And luckily for me, I found a really good one in the Spline community. And I was able to tweak it and use it in my work the way I deemed it fit. So all this works I found on Spline community, maybe not as perfect as this. I found the base copy of Spline community and then I was able to tweak it to suit my creative direction. So there's really no shame in doing that. Honestly, I don't see any shame. It's for fun and I don't take credit for all this work. I don't take credit for all the hard work though that I made the 3D book myself. Even when I post or when I share, I always make sure to mention that, oh, this work, this is where I got it from. I probably link the person's work in the comments or something. So it's always great to give accord. I don't know, accord credit to who credit is due. So yeah, that's just one thing I want to mention. But without much ado, we've already done ado already. But yes, without much ado, let's get started. So I don't think I'm going to be able to condense making the entire thing into one video, the entire website into one video. So what I'm going to be doing is probably split into parts. So I'm going to start with the first part, which by popular demand really is actually the butterfly. So I'm going to start by showing how I made the butterfly and then maybe the book, and then I will bring everything together inside of Figma, maybe by the third or the second video. So let's see how far we can go for today's one. So I'm going to open up Spline. In case you're not familiar with Spline, it's a 3D tool. I can call it a very, very watered down version of Blender. So Blender is a really good 3D tool. Sorry. Spline is just a very simplistic or simplified version of it. So I've opened up Spline. So there's this thing called community, just like a Figma community where you can find stuff people have made and then take it and then tweak it to suit your work. You also have the same for Spline. So I'm going to go to Spline community and then I'm going to search for butterfly. So this is how I found mine. Found multiple of them and then I was just checking through to see which fits my taste. I think I saw this one, I liked it, but I don't know why I didn't go for it. But I think I just preferred this one because it was just, I should have gone for that one really. But I think because of creative direction, I just preferred this particular one. And I think this one was already rigged. That's why I liked it. Like it was already already had this effect where the wings were moving. So that's what I wanted. I didn't want like something static that I would need to go and start building from scratch, because I was just trying to, again, this work was not something I set out to do from the beginning. It was just, I just wanted to do one basic thing and then ended up with something more complex. So I didn't want to spend too much time having to rig all these things from start. That was not what I set out to do. So I didn't want to spend too much time having to rig a butterfly or model a butterfly from scratch. So this one was my favorite one. So I just just going to go to remix, press remix. So you can see that it has been added to my tabs. So I can just open it now and then start messing around with it. It may take a bit of time because internet is pretty poor where I am currently. But yes, let's just give it some time. Okay, we're in luck. So you can see I have my butterfly in my Canva on canvas. So to move around, you can either move around with these set parameters here. You can move around like this, by just clicking around really, or you can move around freehand by clicking if you're using a multi-chord, an external mouse. You can hold command, I think command or option, click anywhere. Yeah, click on your, like, is it right click or left click? Okay, left click down on anywhere and then turn and just drag around. You're going to see that the scene is going to adjust accordingly. So hold alternate or option facing a Mac, left click anywhere and then just drag around. So you're going to see the camera pan around. So I'm going to first of all delete this winged victory of, I don't really need it, just delete. So that's it. So the butterfly itself, you can see it's already been rigged. It's already, I think the person either rigged it themselves or downloaded the rig and added it to it. So I can see the animations here. So metal rig, so we can click on anyone, it's going to play. I didn't know this was a thing before until this particular project. So I didn't know it was a thing to be able to have animations like this added to a project, like added to a model that you can actually like preview inside of this view. So I'm just going to turn around, hold option or alternate, click anywhere and turn around. So you can click on the butterfly again, click on the metal rig, and then just see different animations. So this is the ideal animation. So this is animation that happens. I mean, you can see that this is when a real life butterfly is perched somewhere. This is how it just like flaps them very gently. But this is meant to like be like flight animation. So, but the thing about this is that it only flies upwards. So you can see it's just only flying like upwards. It's not going anywhere, and that's not what we really want for our project. We want it to actually like have the illusion, or give the illusion that it's actually moving around. So this is just flapping in one place, like it's flapping just in one particular spot. So I want to be able to move from around a lot. So you can see in this particular one here, it moves from this side of the screen, the left side, to the right side, and it also like follows it doesn't follow like a straight path. It follows, you can see that it's not following a straight path, it's kind of following like a loopy path. So I want to have that for this one as well. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. So let's see the last animation. So you can see this one is I think it's another ideal animation, but this ideal animation is with its wings open. So those are the different animations that come with this particular 3D model. So what I want to do is I want to click on it, and then I want to start creating a flight path for it, because to be honest, there's no need for you to rig the animation again. I want to create a path for it to follow that uses this particular animation here, this metal rig, or this flight animation. I think we can actually rename it. So let's call it, oh boy, I don't think we can rename it. I don't think we can rename it. I thought I could rename it, but anyways, that's totally fine. We don't really need to rename it. So what I want to do is that, like I said, I want it to follow a particular flight path. So to do that, the first thing I would like to do really is that in this scenario, I actually want to have like a viewport. I want to have a work area, because like this now, as it is now, everywhere in this particular design is the work area. So you can see there's no predefined place for me to view what I'm working on. There's no predefined for me to view my scene. Let me call it my scene. So I think I also want to turn the background color to something like something less dark. Okay, so we can see something less dark. I think this is fine. Sorry. So I want to click on this thing, click on this second one, and make sure that it's playing here. Okay, it's still the same. No problem, well, that's fine. So what I want to do to create the flight path, I'm going to draw a path. So to do that, is just to pick the pen tool here. Where is the pen tool? This pen tool here. Okay, it's called vector tool. I thought it was pen tool. And just click anywhere, really. Just click anywhere. Just click, not vector tool. I'm using the wrong one. I'm so sorry about that. I think it's this one. Okay, I think I'm actually using the right tool. I am using the right tool. So it's actually just to click different points, really. The only problem that I'm having is I'm seeing it have this what's it called, lines. I actually want a stroke instead of like a fill. So I'm going to see if I can remove that. I'm sorry, I actually don't know how to use Spline like that. I just know how to use enough for my tutorial. So I'm going to see convert to path. Okay, this works. Yes, good. So I want to convert to path so that it actually looks like a stroke instead of a fill. So I want to reduce the size of this path. This size, where's the option? Okay, X. So I can just press 1 here. So you can see the path has dropped. But then just so we can actually see for this tutorial, let me just make it something like 5. So you can see what we're doing. So I have been able to create a path. So this path I can actually like move it, tweak it as I desire. So I'm just going to move it around. So like I said before, I also want to have like a work area. I mentioned viewport then. I actually didn't do that. So I'm going to do that now. So to create a viewport, I'm just going to click on an empty space in my design. And then I'm going to go to this frame, where it says frame, go to size. By default, it's always responsive. I'm going to change it from responsive to anything I want. But personally, I prefer the full HD option because it's in a 16:9 aspect ratio. So you can see that there's this light area here. So everything here in this light area is what's going to be rendered when I render this view out, or if I were to play it even itself, it's only what's inside of this view here that's going to be played. So let's play. You can see that it's what's inside of the white area. Everything outside is not going to be shown. So let's move it outside a bit and play. So you can see that it's actually outside. So you want to make sure that whatever you want to be seen, you are going to put inside of this viewport, this thing I call viewport here. So I'm just going to also zoom in a bit and make sure that the line, what I'm trying to do is actually make the line go from one end of my viewport to the other. So I can make it come from any direction, but I just want it to cross, like start from the beginning and then go out like outside. So this is the path that this butterfly is going to follow. So I'm going to just zoom in to make sure that one of the ends is here. I hate the zooming. So I'm just going to use this thing here. Zoom, let's say 1020. Yours may be different, so you don't have to follow mine. Just zoom in enough to have some part of it in and out of frame. So the butterfly is supposed to follow this path like this. So to do that, to make that happen, you need to set it to follow path. So to do that, you just click on the butterfly and then go to object, go to align to path. So align to path, you can see object here, the path says none by default. So I can set it and say shape. So the shape is this thing here. I can actually name it path. You can call it path. Okay, so you can see that it has been aligned to the end of the the end of the line. So that's just one step further, but then it's going to be static. But I want to move from one end to the other end. So to do that, I need to I need to go to the butterfly now, and then I need to press add a state to it. So this is a state. This is what you call state. I'm going to press state. So it's going to add a new state. I just want to call this state something. I can actually call it anything. So let's call it end. let's call it travel. Let's call it travel. I called my travel. Okay, so in this travel state, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to what's it called? I'm going to go to the align to path options for the butterfly itself, and then I'm going to go to offset and slide it all the way to the end. So you can see that as I'm increasing the value, it's moving all the way to the end. So that's what I want to have. I don't know if I can actually make it -1 instead, because I had this issue. Nah. So you can make it 1, so a complete value, so it moves out of view. So you can, it's still not going to do anything. Still not going to do anything until I set a trigger for it. So the trigger I want to set now is that I want to say that once I press play, the butterfly should start moving from this first here, from this from its origin point to the end of its origin of this flight path. So to do that, it's just for me to come to this event state. Okay, there's already a start added already. So I can press this, click this start. Oh, there's an animation added already. So I don't want to remove this animation. So what I can do is add a new event. So this event is also going to be called start. Sorry. Oh, sorry. So this event is also called the start, or the trigger rather is also called start. It's also going to be start because I actually want it to just happen I don't want to be the one to press anything for it to start playing. I just want to just start on its own. So that's why I'm leaving the trigger as start. So for the action, I'm going to press transition. So transition, what it means is that it's just going to show like this. So I'm going to click on it again, and then it's going to open the options here. So the options, by default, you have the transitions current to travel. So okay, not current. I can change it from this one. So I want to transition from state 1 to state 2. So the state 1 here that's listed here is actually base state. So this current is not going to work. Current means its current state, and then it doesn't make any sense for you to transition from the current state, which is travel, to travel as well. Nothing is going to happen. So I want to transition from the base state, some base state here, to travel. So like this, it should work, but it's going to be really fast. Let's see how it works. So let me press play. So you can see it actually moves to the end. And I also want it to loop as well. Okay. So I also want it to loop. So I'm going to set the loop to infinite. If you want to loop for a particular amount of time, you can do that. But I want it to loop infinitely. So I'm going to press infinite. And then I want it to cycle as well. So cycle means how many. Okay, cycle means should it go back and forth, back and forth? I think back and forth would be a good idea. But then it's not really going to work in this case. So let's just leave it like that. Let's leave it the way it is. So delay. So you don't really need to tamper with any other option. You can mess around with these options to see what unique thing you can create. But for me, these options are the one that give me what I want. So let me just play it now. So you can see it just keeps restarting. So that's what the whole loop infinitely thing does. So we can see that there's still some things that are not properly ironed out. So I need to take care of those things. So the first thing is that it moves too fast, obviously, and it's not even flapping even. So let's address those things. So how do I proceed? Okay, I need to increase the timing to something like, let's say, 7 seconds. I think 7 seconds is a good amount of time. So let's play it. So I think 7 seconds works. However, I don't like the fact that it's ease in out. I want it to be linear. I want to move in a linear fashion. So I can click on it and then click on the ease in, ease out, change it to linear. So that it's just like moving in a linear fashion. So I think this is okay. You may not like it. You may want something else. That's good and fine. You can actually like play with the other options. So let's see. I think let's do ease. Ease is too fast. So let me just go back to linear. Really. Let me not mess around too much. So click on the second start. Change it from ease. Click on the ease. Change to linear. So linear works just fine for me, and I'm okay with the results that it gives. So the next thing I want to do is that you can see this is still the animation that's still playing, is still the ideal animation. So it doesn't feel like it's flying. It feels like it's just moving on a straight line. Well, it just feels unnatural. So I want it to feel natural. So what I'm going to do next is to make sure that when it's when this is playing out, the animation that's on the butterfly itself is the flapping animation. So this animation that's currently playing is the ideal animation. So to do that, I think the simple solution I just did. Okay, let me click on start here. So this start here is actually for the animation to start playing. That's the animation on the butterfly. So I think we can select which kind of animation we want to play. So by default, it's the first one that's playing, that first idle animation. So we can click on the animation and select the second one. This second one is the flapping animation. So let's select it. So it means that on start, this animation should start playing on the butterfly. This second animation should start playing on the butterfly. So let's see it in motion. So you can see it's working and it looks like it's actually flapping and flying on a predefined route. However, the issue on ground now is that it's flying backwards. So this was like the most tricky part for me. I had a hard time figuring how to sort this one out. So let's see if I even know the tactics I was able to sort it out with. So I think what I did was to click on the butterfly. Let's bring it to view. Let's go to base state. That's the base state of the butterfly, and then let's turn it around. Turn it to face where it should face. So okay, I don't think you see what I'm doing, but I've gone to base. I've clicked on base state, so it brings the butterfly back to the beginning of the flight path. So I can then see these what do you call it? See these lines, these curves here. You can actually use them to tweak the orientation of the selected object. So I'm just going to turn the lines to, as best as I can, face where I want it to face the flight path. So once I do that, I can go to the travel state as well. This might not work. Keep in mind, it may not work, but let's try it regardless. And then on the travel final state, that's the travel state, I can then turn it to face the proper direction as well. That's facing left. Okay, so I think this is fine. So let's see. It still faces backward. Oh, Houston, we have a problem. I'm trying to remember how I was able to solve this particular problem. It was tricky, but let's see. Flying backwards. Okay. Okay, so let's click on the sketchpad model itself and then turn it around instead. Oh, that was a pretty simple solution. That was a very, very simple solution. I assumed that I had to make everything happen on this particular one. So just selecting the model that does not, because this one already has multiple events set to it, so I don't think making any changes to it affects anything. So you can just go inside click on the select the option inside, and then turn it around, and it just solves the problem for you, the backwards problem for you. So this way you can see it flies the proper direction, follows so what I want to just do now is just to really just adjust my curve to, like I said, start at the beginning, although I want to make sure that I'm adjusting the way that the butterfly is out of view, so you don't really see it you don't really see where it comes from. You just feel like it comes from somewhere outside of the design, then flies into view, and then flies outside. So let's play it and see. So you can see how it follows the flight. It may not follow it exactly, but they actually don't want to follow it exactly, because I think I like the idea that it feels really natural. It feels really, really natural. That it's not following the line. Really, it's actually following it, but then I don't want to go into I can't really explain what's really going on. But yes, this is fine for me. However, there's a problem that I am personally noticing. When it's flying and the flight animation ends, you just see how it clips down backwards. So I don't really want that harsh motion anymore. So what I want to do is I want to click on the butterfly itself, go to the start. That's the first one that triggers the animation to play. So I'm going to I think I want to extend. I don't know if I can extend it. I think I want to I've forgotten how I was able to make the replicate it, but I think I just came to cycle, and they did ping pong, because ping pong makes it not clip back to the beginning. It makes it just like um move backwards. Like if the animation plays forward, it's, let me use the word, rubber bands backwards to its initial state and then starts again. So it's just like a reversal. It reverses itself. So, but if you don't have ping pong set to it, it just clips back to the first what's the word? To the first state. So we don't want that. We actually want a ping pong effect. So let's see how that works. Hopefully it should work just fine. Hopefully it should work just fine. So yes, no longer, I don't think we still see that animation, that hash animation anymore. So this should be fine, really. This should be this should be fine. If it's still giving that effect, just let it play out for a couple more minutes, and I think you're going to get the right proper right animation. For example, this one, we don't really see that thing happen here. So with that, I think we're done with the animating the butterfly itself. The last thing I want to do is, okay, not last thing really. The next thing is to actually do cleanup. So I don't want this path to show. I don't want people to see this path while the butterfly is flying across the screen. So what I want to do is to click on the path itself and then go to, I noticed that I'm teaching this particular method because I noticed that even though I turn the size down here to 0 and I export as a GIF, I still noticed that the line was still showing. It was actually still showing. So you don't want that. You want to just go to the what do you call it? You go to the material of the path itself and turn off the lighting, turn off the color, and like that you have the path invisible. So it just looks like the butterfly is just like flying across the screen of its own free will. Meanwhile, it's actually following a predefined path across the screen. So the next thing I can do, although personally I still like to leave if I want to make edits, I still like turning on the path, like turning on the lighting and color so I can see what I'm doing. So sometimes what you can also do is to make edits, like you can move the camera around to just have like a different view. So you can see that this is the current view. If I were to say, okay, I want it to have a different orientation, I can click on option, hold option, like I said, option or alternate on the keyboard, click on an empty part of the screen and then drag. So I can have it like this. And then also still drag it in this manner. So this, what I'm doing currently is actually I'm holding the middle key on my mouse. I don't really know how to do that if you're using a trackpad. I'm holding the middle key on my mouse and I'm just dragging across the screen. So that's how I do achieve this pan effect. So the other one was like orbit effect. I think this is called the pan effect. So what is going to happen is that you're going to see the butterfly fly from this part of the screen, fly here and follow this spiral pattern, or the spiral path rather. So I want to turn off the path again, turn off the lighting, turn off the color, and then play. So you can see, you can have like multiple angles. You can actually do whatever kind of angle that feels best. Although the way that I ends, I notice that it's always like looking kind of weird. So this works for me really. This works for what I want really. So I can also have maybe turn it in this manner. So you can have any kind of view really, as long just do what you think works for your creative direction. It's entirely up to you to create what you want. You can also like do side angle. So I can click on the, what do you call it? Turn on the lighting and color and then hold option and then click on drag. So this way, this is like the side view. So you can see it's being represented here, side view. So it's just going to come from the side. So this is side view of the butterfly. But me, I think I wanted that kind of isometric view, because this way you can't see that it's following the curve. It just feels like it's flapping around in one spot. I don't really like that. So I like to have like something at least something isometric. I think that's the word. Something isometric that's showing a bit of the other side, like the top and the bottom and the sides as well. So that's like isometric view, I think. So you could also still do for more realistic, should I call it realistic? Yeah, for more realistic camera angle, you can also change to perspective as well. So perspective gives you obviously perspective view. So there's a vanishing point at this point. I think that's the one I used. So in this case, there's a vanishing point that the thing has. So you can just zoom in like this. So you can see that the point that's farthest away from the camera, in perspective mode, the point that's farthest away from the camera feels like it's smaller in comparison to the one that's closer to the camera. So that's why I like perspective mode. It gives a more realistic and a more dramatic, I think that's the word I'll use, a more dramatic look for your 3D elements. So you can see, so as it goes further away, it gets smaller and smaller until it gets to the end. So this is how you create your butterfly. So the next thing I want to do is to export. So export in a manner which I can use in Figma, because in Figma you notice that you actually had a shadow. So I'm going to show you how to export and then take into Figma as well. So to export is actually very easy. Although the only problem you have to do here is actually waiting. Play the waiting game. So let me press export. So I'm going to press export, and then you're going to see a couple of options. Just go to export as video recording. So go to video recording and change the format from MP4. If you want a video, good and fine. But the problem with the video is that it's going to have a background. So for my design, you can see that it actually does not have a background, which is why it can show over every other element. Plus also, if you don't have like a Figma Pro plan, there is no way you can use a Figma a video in your design. So that's just going to be it's just not going to work. So you need to have it as a GIF or a GIF, whichever is the pronunciation, to be able to use it to interact with other elements. So that's how I was able to have this. It's a GIF, whatever the word is. So to export as a GIF, change it from, you can use MP4 like I said. So but GIF allows you to export without a background. So for me, so you can see, I have the option to either show the background color, which is this gray here, or to hide it. So I'm going to change depending on what you want. I always go for the highest maximum. So, but you going for the highest means that you have to wait a longer time, and obviously you are going to get you're going to get like a larger file size, but that's totally fine for me because this is not me trying to do actual work that I'm going to put out there. It's just personal exploration, so I can have as much size as I want to have. So for the sake of this, because I want to export really fast, is why I'm going to go for low quality. But typically, I would go for 48 because more FPS means it's smoother. Like the animation is smoother in transition. So for the ratio as well, I normally go for 1.5 because 2 is really clear. It's really good, high quality. But then the problem is that you wait a long, like I'm saying, you wait a long time. So typically, I either go for 1.5 or 2. So for this one, I'm just going to go for 1, which is the lowest. And then for the time, because I know the time it takes for it to travel from one end to the other, I can actually enter a manual time, a fixed time rather, or you can do manual if you want. But let's do fixed. Okay, the duration is going to be duration I set for it to start, for the butterfly to start from the beginning to get to the end. So I think it was around 7 seconds or so. But because it's already partly outside, I think I'm going to do 6 seconds. Or you know what, let's just do 7. Okay, let's do 6. So yeah, that's basically it. So I'm done setting my setting everything. So GIF, hide background, 15 FPS. But like I said, for yours, you might want to go for 48 because it's the animation plays out better when it's the FPS is high. So let's just press start. Hopefully, so once you press start, it's going to play the animation. However, what you want to do to start the recording is to press this button here. So you can see it's locked at 6 seconds. So I'm going to press start for it to start animating. So I'm going to press for it to start recording rather. So I'm going to press this record button. So it's going to show recording. So now you can see that it's recording without the background. So it's going to count down to 0 and then start processing. So this processing means that it's processing your video I'm sorry, but before rather, what's it called? Spline used to have very terrible GIF conversion, but recently I've noticed that the GIF conversion is actually kind of good. It's gotten better over time. So I can now use the export export natively from Spline into GIF, and it comes out like in very good quality. So it's because I set it to this low values, that's why we're able to get it in this time. Typically, it takes around like 10, 20 to 30 minutes even to export depending on the length of the video and also the quality as well, but this is fine. So I'm going to save it as let me show new. I've already saved a couple of them. So new butterfly. So I'm going to save. So to bring it to my what's it called Figma now. So let's go to Figma. So let me create a new file. So I'm going to share this file. There's a link to this file in the I'm going to share the link to the file in this. Sorry, I'm trying to find the words. I'm going to share the link to the file in this video, so you can just check the comments. I say the comments. Yeah, check the comments or the description of the video, and you find the file. So I'm going to create a new file, or a new frame rather. I'm going to make it 1440. If you watch all my other videos, you're going to know that I like 1440 by 810, because again, it's on the 16:9 aspect ratio. So I don't want to go into describing all of that again. So with that done, the next thing I want to do is to bring my design, to bring my I'm going to call it viewport. Let me call it viewport, as I normally do. So I'm going to now import my GIF. So place image or video, and then I'm going to just bring this one and place it anywhere. So because it's a transparent background and it's showing the first frame, you can't see that there's anything inside, but there's actually something in it. If I were to click on this thumbnail here and then crop this timeline, you're going to see the butterfly come into view. So yeah, that's just it. So with this, you can see it outside my viewport. I can bring it to my viewport. So inside the viewport now, I can then place properly. Okay, place in center, and then also scale it down. You can scale it up, it depends on you. This is all creative and decision. You can even like rotate it around. For me, I think I rotated mine in kind of, so you give it more angle. So you can do whatever you want at this point in time. So what I'm going to do is to play the viewport. So I'm going to play the viewport, so you can see the animation from start to finish. So it might take a bit of time, but just give it a second. So you can see it's choppy because it's 15. It's 15. What's it called? What's the word again? The FPS was set to 15. That's why it looks choppy. But if you do 48, you see that the quality actually comes out really good. So I'm going to turn it around. I think I would like it to be scaled down because it leaves really fast. So I want to be scaled down a bit. So yeah, let me just play it. Oh, you can see that it ends somewhere here. So I don't want that. I want it to go all the way. So it's just for me to scale it up as well, or move it to the top. Let's just move to the top, really. That will be easier. So it comes from the bottom. Let's see how it plays out. It comes from the bottom here and then flaps around and just flies away. So that's how I was able to achieve that one. And then we can add some text. So we can add some text and say, let me just copy the text from my other design. Okay, I had this other one, waiting for butterflies, that I made. Okay. Control C. And then I'm going to Control V here. I am also going to change the background color of this, my my frame, just because I want to. I don't want to change the color of these things. So let's have this one. Okay, let's play it and see. So you can see that the butterfly passes under the text, but because I have it as a GIF, I can have the text under the butterfly and then it's going to pass above them. So let's see how that plays out. Flaps around and passes above them. So it's a small thing, but it's a small thing. So I can move the GIF sideways, so it actually like passes to the center a bit. Since it doesn't go from this side, you're not really going to notice because I've moved it. So let's just see how that works. Should flap around and pass above these things. Yeah. So cool. So what I want to do now is I want to create depth. I want to create this feeling of depth to this particular create this feeling of depth in this particular design. So what I can do is I can go to something I noticed that Figma allows, which is shocking to me how it actually works, because it feels like this is some complex rendering going on, but then Figma finds a way to do it. So it's to go to effects, just like you can add effects to a normal normal element, design element. You can also add effects to GIFs, and it shows and animates in real time, which is shocking to me. So I can go to this effect. I think it shouldn't be shocking because GIFs are actually like a stack of images that are playing like quickly. So Figma just does the heavy lifting. So yeah, that's just by the wayside really. So I'm going to, I've added a drop shadow. So the drop shadow now I can edit it. I can actually tweak it a bit. So I can extend the Y downwards. So you can see now it's starting to feel like there's what's it called? the This element is actually at the bottom, and then this is flapping above every other thing. So that's the feeling of depth I want to create. So I can actually leave it like this and say I'm done, or I could go to the blur and then still say okay. Based on my creative decisions, I want to tweak it a bit and make it what's it called? Make the blur. Okay, I think this blur is fine. I want to also maybe adjust the X to to kind of mimic where the sunlight is coming from. So because I don't really have any sunlight happening on this text, I think I want to just move it anywhere really. So this is fine. This direction. So I could look at the butterfly and see where the text is light is coming from. I think the way it's being lit, I think the light is actually coming from overhead or from this side. So these are just small things I worry about. And for the opacity, I think this works. This 25 works. So let's see it. So you can see that there's just this feeling of depth that has been added that elevates this design from just looking like a plain 2D element, or the butterfly from looking like a plain 2D element to looking like something that feels layered. So these are just small things I was able to do to my design to make it look even better. So one thing I noticed is that the shadow clips off too early. So and I want to adjust that. I can actually creatively cheat. So to creatively cheat here, I can actually like add like a it's not going to work. It's not okay. It is going to work. So I can just look where the shadow actually ends. Okay. I don't think I could cheat my way out of this one. So what I can do is just to scale it up really. Just scale it up really. Okay. Just to make sure that there's still some room for the shadow to go before it leaves the frame. So let's see if this works. Okay, so you can see it leaves the frame totally. It doesn't feel like something is being chopped off. So I think this works. This works for what we want to do. So this is as far as we can go for this particular tutorial today. The next time I do this tutorial again, I'm going to do the book, this particular book thing, and then I'm going to maybe see if I can just finish create the UI itself, and then also show you how I was able to animate this animation you see here. So I already do these other animations on my other tutorial, so you can check them out if you want to go ahead and know how to do all these text animation that look like GSAP animation. All these were just like PNGs I just added to it. So the hard part really is just the book itself and also the the butterfly. So the book is something you can also find on Spline community. In case you want to go ahead of me and actually do these things yourself, you can go to Spline and just search for book. So search for book. I was able to. Why are you guys showing me? So you can just look through it. You're going to find that particular book. So there's this death note. You can use that. But the book I've used, I was somewhere. It's around it's here somewhere. Just look through properly. So these are magic. These are really cool. I think I would have really liked one of these. Or I think that there's things I can actually do with some of this. So yeah, this is just how I was able to find my assets and then take them into my own design and then like just tweak them, take them to Spline and then tweak them to suit my personal needs. So you can find assets here and then do what you want with them and just come back, take them from here and then move them into Figma and play around them with other options. So that's that. If you have any questions while you're trying to implement this, you could either ask in this video, like ask in the comments, or better still, reach out to me on social media. You can text me on Twitter, text me on LinkedIn, or anywhere that you can find me really. I will always respond. I will always try to help you as best as I can with a solution to any problem you may have. So that's for this tutorial. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.